Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel and the shed. Last week I made a rash promise that I was going to get one item or one box every week out of my emergency storage shed to try and make some headway. Well, so far we've got one in a row. We did one last week. Let's go and have a look for this week. So we'll wander around here and see what we can get. I'm not going to try and cherry pick easy jobs or hard jobs. I just want to work from the front door and make decisions. If you're new to the channel, this emergency storage shed is about 30 feet long, literally filled to the rafters because I had to move from my old shop in a hurry. And rather than go through the whole story, look up my channel. Right, so just inside the door, we have a little hydraulic jack, which I do use, but I'm not sure where the handle is. But that's obviously a keeper. It's a handy thing. We'll put that under the bench in the main workshop. I have a piece of heavy pipe here with a flat base on it. Well, it actually sits on a base. This used to support my TV antenna tower. I had a pipe that went up about 30 feet in the air and then a TV antenna on the top at the back of the shop. And I do want to hook up a TV antenna here, so I will be using that. But I'm going to put that around the back. It doesn't need to be undercover. So they can go with a pile of pipe I've got around the back. In fact, that's where the antenna is. And that gets it out of the shed. Right in the corner I have a little very heavy solid piece of steel, and this, I've had this for 30 years or more. It used to sit on my workbench when I had a mechanics workshop. Just a really handy sort of a bench top anvil. I'm not about to get rid of it, but it doesn't need to sit in the shed, so I'll put that around the side where I've got a few other heavy bits of metal, because I will be using that sort of stuff later. You know the old saying, it will be handy, but I'm not going to get rid of it. It is a good piece of steel. So that empties the corner. I'll put this around here for now. Now I'm going to resist just moving things from one spot to another, but if I have a use for them and I'm going to keep them, they do have to find their right homes. We have a piece of timber here, which is a handy piece. It's solid. I think it's pine. It's one piece, so it's a nice wide plank. That will certainly be useful. And I have a stack of timber around behind the shed, so that can go around there for now. And all these other bits were left over from when the builder built this emergency shed, and they're handy noggins and things. And they're out of the road there. I think they'll be fine to stay there. So in this particular episode, I'm going to start on this pile because that's the closest to the door. And up on top we have just a brush and some pincers, and I used these on a recent job and I was just a bit lazy to put them right back into the workshop where they go, so I dropped them on the top here. We need to stop doing that, guys, don't we? Put things away. Okay, I also changed a wheel on a little trolley, and this one, the tyres totally had it. And I don't think the hub's probably useful because I do have a few of these trolleys. It's obviously been wet and got a bit rusty. The bearings in it might well be okay, so I might take that apart this afternoon, check the hub, save the bearings because they will be useful on other trolleys, and we'll get rid of the tyre. So at least it'll be processed rather than just sat somewhere. So up on top there's also the split pin and the washer. So this box, we'll get into this box for this episode. Whatever's in it, I don't remember. We'll make a decision on it and we'll deal with it. Before we deal with the box, let's deal with this tyre. So I'm going to salvage some parts off here and get rid of the tyre. They're all loose. Because I run 2 or 3 hand trolleys that take these wheels, and also I have a piano removing trolley which has 4 wheels, a piano and furniture trolley, which you may have seen in some of my videos. That has 4 of these wheels, so every now and again they need some maintenance. Sometimes it's just a matter of replacing a bolt that might have come loose and fallen out. Other times replacing bearings, and these bearings feel okay. So I think it's worth having a special box labelled trolley wheel parts, and then I can keep anything that's useful, and when I'm looking to replace a missing bolt out of one of them, I don't have to rummage through a lucky dip box full of assorted hardware just to find the right size bolt. I'll know exactly where I can find some. So that, whoops, there goes the washer. So that hub looks okay. It's a little rusty, but the bearings, yeah, they actually feel all right. And the other side is surface rusty, but that still will be fine. So we'll keep all those parts. There's a fair chance the tube's probably still okay here. I'd say it's just been Well, the tyre's clearly just disintegrated. Look at the rubbers just falling off it. They don't make them like they used to. But we'll get the tube out of here because there's a fair chance the tube's still okay and I may need that as a replacement one day. Now, I was looking the other day for my valve removing tool and I don't know where it is, but the split pin here, as long as they've got the same length ends, you can use these to remove the valve cores if they're not too tight. They work quite well. That's coming out nicely. There we go. And yeah, there's a little, well, there's not really any air. I think the tire's just gone a bit stiff. Let's see if we can get the tube out. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, I think we'll put the valve core back in there, and that can go in our box of spares as well. So we have our repurposed coffee jar with the various nuts and washers and split pin, and we have a box labelled. I feel like we're getting organised now. Certainly not its final resting place, but it's out of the road, it's labelled. I'm happy with that. Let's deal with this box. Now, it wasn't very heavy, so what's in it? I don't remember. Let's have a look together. Oh, cup of tea, anybody? Any wonder it wasn't heavy. They're just small aluminium teapots. So this has obviously come from one of my storerooms at the shop. And I do remember having a box to put old teapots because they turn up without lids quite often. And they are a very good seller. You'd be amazed how many people come in for these old aluminium teapots. That's just a 1 cup, very small one. There are a couple of lids in here. So if we can match them up, oh, that's pretty good. That just needs a clean up. There's $15 there without any problems. Just a quick wash, $15. So let's match as many as we can. Okay, so here's our conundrum. We've only got one that fits, so I'm going to wash that up. The lid's pretty grotty. It's been lying in the mud by the looks of it. The teapot itself is fine. The lid fits well. And most of these are Swan teapots, and they're English made. That looks like a date of 1976, which would be around about right. I would say 60s into the 70s these were popular. That one's got a bit of a dent at the bottom. But they'll all be Swan brand. Oh, that one's not. That's Namco, which is an Australian tableware brand. But much the same era, and that's a made in England. The Swan brand, the Carlton 6 cups. So our conundrum is, what do we do? Clearly, I had these in storage at the back of the shop, thinking, all right, you know, there's a teapot, hard to sell without a lid. The moment we get a lid that fits, which it doesn't, there's $15 to $20, depending on condition. The dilemma is, how long do we keep them? They take up storage room. Am I better just putting all these teapots in the shop at $5 each with no lids? And then I could get $20, $25 back. Don't have to worry about any storage. We'll disregard this one because we know we can sell this one. And then what do I do with odd lids? Do I just box the lids and say $5 for a box of assorted lids and someone might have a use for them? Do I just smash the tops off and put them in the aluminium bin? They're worth hardly anything for scrap. If one had a warehouse with unlimited storage and a good cataloguing system, yes, you could probably just continue to have a box of teapots that need lids, and as you get lids, you could match them up. Given my storage issues, and I don't want to be, you know, overwhelmed with a lot of clutter that restricts me from setting up my workshop properly, I'm going to just give these a quick wash just so they're presentable, just a rinse really, and put them all in the shop at $5 each. And if they sit in the shop for some time and I happen to find a lid that fits one, beauty, $5 becomes $20. But if it sells at $5, so be it, it's gone. Spare lids, I think I'll just also put in a box, and I might just put $2 per lid. And again, I can then effectively store them in the shop. And if someone wants to come and pay $2 for a lid, well, it's, You know, it's about $1.95 more than I'd get for scrap. And they won't take up too much room in the shop. They'll add to our variety that we sell. Every now and again someone will be really happy they found a lid that maybe fits their teapot. And if I need one, I know where to go. So I think that's the best method for dealing with this. It's making the tough decisions, but I'm no longer going to store things waiting for a matching lid, because I might end up with 50 or 100 of these things before I get one that matches up. So there we go. I've talked my way through that. I hope you agree with my logic. I'm going to take these, give them a bit of a wash up. They can go back in that plastic box and they can all go to the shop so that they're out of my shed. Okay, we've dealt with that box. Do we leave it till next week before we get something else? No, we don't want too short a video. Let's get something else. How about I deal with this? Does this lump need to be in my shed? Coco? Coco? Hello? Hey. Coco. Are you going to move? Alright, we'll have to step over her. Alright. Let's get something else. We won't get another whole box, but we'll deal with... Alright, that needs to go to the cleaning box that I've got in the other shed. Again, I left it there after a job. And same with this little scraper. I have a box for scrapers. So we'll get rid of those. I don't know what's in this, but we can't get into this just yet because it's supporting more stuff. So rather than have an avalanche, we'll leave that there until we get the stuff off it. There's a couple of ice cream containers in here. What's here? This one, these are actually parts of some fence paneling I had here, and I've now repurposed those into gates. So I don't actually need these anymore. So they can just go in my pressing steel box. Same with the random hardware. There's some aluminium brackets. I think they can just go in the aluminium bin. I'm not going to start saving random brackets, particularly when they're all just different sizes. Yeah, I don't think I need those. Into the aluminium bin with you. Let's make tough decisions. And the hardware is pretty rusty. We have some Tech screws and some bolts. Now, I have a box for bolts. We'll put those in. The threads are still okay. Yep, so the rest of those can go in the pressing steel. What's in the container under here? I think it's empty. Yep, an empty ice cream container. I have a pile for those. That's good. And we'll get that tin. That looks like just a tin of wheels. I've brought them home out of someone's shed thinking they're really good workshop wheels. And they are. And there's 4 of them, I think. Yep, 4 of them. Now, when I do make space in my workshop, I will have room to roll things around. And if I need to roll things around, I will need wheels. So they are going under the workbench in the other room because I'm sure I can use them in the near future. Now, just at the moment, my cleaning stuff goes up there. My scrapers go in here. I do have a little tub here for nuts and bolts, so those 3 bolts will be at home there. I have a shelf up here for empty plastic containers, which are very handy when I'm sorting out my workbench. My current bucket of domestic aluminium is in here. Underneath the bench I have a tub just for old nails and things that are going into the shred. And the wheels can go underneath the bench back in here for now, with a few other things that I've found recently that will be useful. I have a little barrel outside for my pressing steel bits that I no longer require. And the barrel actually has holes in the bottom, so if it rains, that won't fill up with water. Okay, guys, we'll call this episode finished. I have got more than one thing out of my emergency shed for this week, so I'm not sure on the rules of engagement. Does that mean I can have next week off? Or just do something every week and... yeah, that's probably better. I don't have any weeks off if I can help it. So, we've made headway. I'm actually in the shed. I've got enough room to do this, just... the main workshop's that way. I can get through here easily, which is going to make it a little bit better for moving bigger things in and out. But we've got a long way to go, of course. So join in next week, whenever I get the next video up, and we'll probably have to tackle something from up the top. Otherwise, we're going to have an avalanche. We'll see you then, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.